asking blue pill, red pill, corporate press, I've had my fill. I'm just a simple chat, believing in my own will. Web fire, math table, scheming, this is no drill. Haters masking boosted, but still with no chill. You did come and take it if you wanna mess with my hill. We've been 3D printing, set and ready for that ghost kill.
All right. Hey, guys. Sorry, I got kind of carried away on the last episode of the Maple Pill, so running a little bit behind the 8 ball here, but we've got another Mailbag Monday with you guys where we'll just be hanging out. I haven't had a chance to like pack a bowl or roll a joint. I also need to go grab the actual mail, which is over there on a different table. So I'm going to play for you guys the new Mailbag song, and I'll be right back. And let me know what you guys think of it. And I still need to put together some better graphics for it. But first, we'll play the Mailbag song. And then I've got Dan, the NFT boy, who'll be joining us as a special guest as well.
Welcome to the Mailbag Monday show with your host, Matt McKeever. Let's open some mails, leave some smoke trails. Mailbag Monday, send Matt a pack and it's gonna be a fun day. Mailbag Monday, send Matt a pack, live stream every Monday. Mailbag Monday, send Matt a pack and it's gonna be a fun day. Mailbag Monday, send Matt a pack, live stream every Monday. Welcome to the live stream. This is Dan the Lost Boy with Project LB52 and Space Monkey Fight Club. Get your avatar and custom song today.
All right. How awesome is that song? And again, I love having a theme song literally for these Mailbag Monday episodes. I've got, I'll make sure I cover this up, but I got a new piece of mail. And actually, I love this too. So I haven't opened it yet, but good vibes and gratitude. Thank you on the back of the envelope, which is awesome. I'm also going to be grinding up my weed because, like I said, I'm running a little bit behind the 8 ball, but essentially, that Mailbag intro song and or theme song, I should say, is a perfect example, I guess, of the new NFT project that I'm working on with Dan, the NFT boy. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, there's a link in the video description down below to Project LB52. And essentially what the project is a one-of-a-kind, first in the history of NFTs to the best of both my and Dan's knowledge. And we pay a lot of attention to NFTs, so I feel pretty confident saying that we're factually correct on this. This is the first like custom NFT music project that there is. And so what that means is you essentially with Dan get to help co-create a custom music song. So you guys probably hear me, the start of each Maple Pill. I've got my Maple Pill intro song, right? Blue pill, red pill, corporate press, I've had my fill, all that good stuff. And that essentially is one of the NFTs. So I bought it off Dan. He's still in the process of finishing it and doing the finishing touches on that song. But I'm such a believer in this project that I literally bought one of my own NFTs, not just as like a sign of faith, but literally because I wanted to have a really cool theme song for the Maple Pill. And that was the easiest way to do it. And there's been a lot of interesting approaches people have taken in regards to how they're using or utilizing their custom song. And, with that, you actually get commercial rights and all kinds of additional benefits with it. So I think I've got Dan in the backstage, so I'm going to bring him up here shortly. And hopefully his mic and sound's working, and we'll just kind of hang out. And maybe Dan can tell you guys a little bit more about the project while I'm getting my bowl ready. Hey, what's up, Dan?
What is up?
Can
you hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
Oh, perfect. The tech check is in order.
Yeah. So, I was kind of giving the people just a rough breakdown of what essentially this is all about with the NFT project. So, if you don't mind, maybe give us a more thorough breakdown exactly of what it is, and even get a little bit into your background just in regards to how you find yourself here.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll start with the background. So I've been rapping and making music for 10 plus years. And me and Matt have, mastermind and workshop for a year or two, just having a relationship and working together. And I recently quit my job about 6 months ago. Had always been blue collar, just working factory work, and decided to take music and NFTs and integrating the two of those to the next level and really commit full time in partnership with Matt. So we basically launched our production company, which is Project LB52, and our Genesis collection, like Matt was telling you guys about, Space Monkey Fight Club, which is the first ever unique avatar mixed with custom song NFT project. And it's not just custom, it's custom made for you. So you choose the beat, you choose all the subject matter, kind of the vibe of the song, really everything about it. And we build it out, make it an NFT, and airdrop it to the same wallet that holds the avatar. So really unique. And I always like to stress, it's not just the cool custom song with those full commercial rights, but it's this ever-growing community, the resources within, a lot of alpha in there pertaining to NFTs and things like that. And obviously the unique avatar, which is also a membership. So it's kind of an ongoing deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's easy to kind of overlook really the details behind this project, but I understand you guys literally get to pick out a beat from a catalog of beats. We own the masters to the beats. So again, you literally get full commercial rights to the song that Dan ends up producing on your behalf. And I guess like with me, I was very hands-on with it. So like I was like kind of co-writing it with Dan, really laid out a bunch of my intentions with it. And I know you've officially like completed one song, right? And do you mind maybe just explaining to the audience a little bit how that one went? Like was Kevin as hands-on, or did he give you a theme? How did that all work?
Yeah, for sure. So that process kind of looks like once you buy your token, you kind of unlock some content that you can only see. It's gated to the token holder. And in that content, there's an intake form that was really well thought out from our team and pretty thoughtful as far as being comprehensive for everything that we would need to make that song. So Kevin filled that song out. Shout outs to Kevin, Space Monkey number 34. And put all the details that he wanted, the subject matter. He chose one of the beats out of our catalog on projectlb52.com. And basically using all that information, I built this incredibly unique song that was actually really, really heart-touching and warming because it was about his mom and just moms in general and kind of the role they play in our lives and how pivotal they are and how much she had done for him and how much all of our moms do for us. So it was really cool to see that subject matter being built into one of these custom songs, and obviously just seeing our process through and seeing that it can make a really cool song.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to me that ended up being the first song because it wouldn't have been what I would have expected for the first song, right? But I think now essentially you're 2 songs into it with Kevin's and mine. Kevin's is essentially this amazing testament to his mom, right? And really applies to all moms. And then on the flip side, you've got me with a protest song that's essentially bashing the government at every chance it gets. And this to me just simply like highlights the diversity of approaches people can take here, right? I think there's an obvious use case for individuals that are maybe like influencers or micro influencers having your own theme song or a theme song for a show. That's a very obvious thing, but you've actually been doing like a way a day now for what, like 70, 80 days. And that's essentially just every single day on Twitter, posting a new idea or thread on how people could utilize this. So at this point in time, are there any like way a days that kind of stand out?
Honestly, there's so many. And it's one of those things that even being the one of the conjurers of this entire idea, they still kind of pop up to me day by day as I build this list out, and they surprise me of, wow, that's actually clever. I might actually, want to pull at that. And one of the ones that I really kind of personally liked was these puzzle songs, or utilizing a song to kind of create this derivative either experience or adventure for your followers, but also it could be a prize or a contest, and making that even NFT integrated to like triple down on it was one of my favorites, just to show how creative you can get. And as you've touched on, Matt, owning the IP and really owning the masters. If anyone's ever heard anybody talk about music ownership, owning the kind of master to the song is really the key. and you basically own the song like you made it, so you can do whatever you want with it. And that puzzle song was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, and so again, just to really hit home here, you legit could upload it to Spotify, you can upload it to iTunes and start selling it. You know, if Snoop Dogg, now that he owns, I think he rebought Death Row Records, right? If he's
Correct.
buy and decides he wants to buy your song off you, you could legit resell it, right? And for someone like
Absolutely.
brand new to NFTs, I think that it's for anyone that's watching this that's brand new to NFTs, it can be really easy to overlook kind of the liquidity in this market versus other things. And so I forget whether we were being interviewed or maybe we were talking in one of our Twitter spaces. So every Friday from like 3 to 5 p.m., Dan and I hang out on Twitter and Twitter space, essentially just talking anything and everything NFTs. So if you guys ever want to, go down the rabbit hole with us, or if you just want to like hit us up and play like, 21 questions, we're more than happy to answer any and all questions. But one of the Twitter spaces we hosted, essentially, I think someone asked me kind of like my thesis on NFTs or something to that effect. I started going down the rabbit hole of talking about like collectibles in general, right? And so, I'm in my family, there's definitely some collectors, some pack rats, whatever you kind of want to frame it as. But, I imagine most people, like their mom or their grandma or maybe an aunt, someone in their family likely collects figurines, right? Or used to collect figurines. You might have someone in your family that collects like sports cards, or someone that collects Pokemon cards, or whatever the case is. Magic the Gathering for the nerds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Again, we've seen that these collectibles can become very valuable. But one of the things, if you were like, I don't know, when I was growing up, it was all about hockey cards. So I was collecting hockey cards, and like Doug Gilmour was like my guy. So like it was all about trying to like buy all of Doug Gilmour's hockey cards and like get all the different ones. And you'd end up paying such a huge premium on these cards because it would be hard to find them, right? And hard to connect and track them down. And then all of a sudden came along like eBay, and that completely dramatically shifted things, right? Where you used to have a real asymmetrical relationship, and where I could go buy a Doug Gilmour hockey card for like $10 or $20 for one that was really hard to find. And on the flip side, if I was to try and resell it right then and there, I'd probably be lucky to get $1 for it, right? Like you might get 10 cents, 20 cents on the dollar. Whereas understanding in the world of NFTs, the same thing that happened with like Beanie Babies, right? And the escalation in those markets and kind of just like the fast evolution in that collector's market. eBay really facilitated people being able to connect with people from around the world that shared the same interest. And when we're looking at NFTs, again, it's so easy for people to literally participate in the NFT market that, you and I have NFTs that are in our wallet, and we probably get like random strangers essentially just DMing us offers, right? Like they can literally make offers on OpenSea, and literally you'll just be like, ding, someone offered you this for yours. And you're like, I'm not even trying to sell it. But it's interesting to be able to have that feedback loop, right? And there's a certain novelty to the public display of what you have in your NFT collection without having to like, guys with fancy watches or fancy cars, probably watches and jewelry more so. They're often scared about like people knowing where they live or knowing too much about their calculation, because it feels like a very portable form of wealth, aka it can be easily stolen. And with NFTs, as long as you're being smart, right? If you're holding it in a cold storage wallet, you're not flashing your keys around to anyone. There's really, you don't have to worry about people knowing what's in your collection. And at the same time, if that is a concern, you can kind of hide it amongst different wallets or whatever. But there's something interesting about being able to easily publicly display your collection that really just like feeds in to the collector's mindset, in my opinion. But also, back to my original point, it creates such a greater liquidity pool.
Yeah.
Because again, maybe today I don't want to sell my Doug Gilmour card, but if I don't list it on eBay or I don't know, wherever people sell hockey cards, no one's going to make me an offer out of the blue, right? Like some dude's not just going to stop me on the street and be like, yo, do you got like a hockey card?
Come knock on your door or something.
And you're like, yeah, I happen to have that. It's at my mom's. Go find it. Not going to play out that way. But with NFTs, it literally can. And again, that's kind of what pushes them a little bit more I think, for a lot of collectors into kind of the investment mindset.
Yeah.
And not to say that people should or shouldn't treat NFTs as an investment. I think it personally comes down to just how you're actually interacting with NFTs, right? There's definitely people out there just having fun, goofing around. There's people launching businesses and they're supporting their own creative endeavors. And then there's definitely people that are just trying to flip and make
Yeah.
quick money and what I kind of consider like the NFT or crypto casino.
For sure. And there's room for everybody, right? And I really like the fact that you can get into a product or an NFT like ours that you can get really emotionally attached to, have a really like experience based kind of thing with, instead of just maybe a PFP that kind of resembles you. There's a little bit more dynamic, but there's also room in the NFT space for flippers that are just looking for the dollar sign, don't care what the artwork's like, don't care what the utility is, no roadmap, doesn't matter. Like I say, there's room for everybody. I always kind of start using this term now, the creator, collector, or investor, and there's kind of the spectrum of everybody in there. And like Matt was talking about, you can connect with people around the world, whether it's just on Twitter in communications or on Discord in communications or through OpenSea, where people are literally tapping on your shoulder, offering you X amount of Ethereum or Matic or dollars for your NFT that, like Matt said, you're maybe not even looking to sell. So it's a very exciting landscape to be a part of. And I know we both share that mindset that it's, early, and sometimes there's the risk that everyone talks about, and there's some adverse effects to that, but I don't think it's anything to outweigh how, amazing and kind of, especially for the community aspect, it's invigorating as far as that goes.
Yeah, and let's I'm just going to comment on Terry here first, and then I want to explore community a bit more with you, Dan. So
Absolutely.
Magic the Gathering, I still play with cards from the 90s. Yeah, Magic the Gathering was one of those things where I wanted to get super into it, but like it was kind of an expensive hobby and I didn't have disposable income. So like I only had like a couple starter packs and only knew like one or two guys with like starter packs. So we never really went down that rabbit hole, but it was one of those things that I know me and I could have got hardcore into Magic the Gathering.
I never understood it when I was little. Like I just didn't understand the dynamics, like how the game was played.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like it got pretty complex, right?
It's dense, yeah. And I was a little kid. All I just remember about Magic cards was, doing some chores to get like a dime or a quarter to go get one or two out of the machine, which is, I think maybe minting NFTs is the new like card machine,
Yeah, it legit is. I hadn't thought about that, but it is. Like, because there was that little bit of gambling to the machines.
I think that's the only reason I was doing it at the time, Matt, because like I say, I didn't understand the game. Maybe I liked the artwork on the cards because it was kind of dark and stuff, but it was more just the gamble effect. It was like a casino for a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And again, the only thing, like, it absolutely was a casino for a kid, but there was no off ramp, right? Like, you couldn't actually exit to liquidity as a kid. Like maybe in your own social circle, if there was something you really got that was cool. Like I'm thinking back to like Pogs. There was a slight secondary market at my school in Pogs, but I don't even remember like a secondary market for like hockey cards or baseball cards or Magic the Gathering or anything like that. Literally, Pogs was the only thing that had a tiny liquidity pool.
Pogs were paper handed. The rest were just diamond handed hodlers.
Yeah, that or just no one was willing to pay you anything for it. One of the two.
There's that too. Yeah, you need the liquidity.
On Magic the Gathering, I just wanted to quickly pull up for Terry here, and none of this should be taken as like investment advice, but one of the new NFT projects that I just got involved in. This is my portfolio for anyone that's interested, so you can always find it on what you call it on OpenSea as like sheer. Oh, I can't. Okay, there we go. As sheer punks, but I just want to pull up. There's this like Pixelverse, and these things like kind of give me similar vibes to like Magic the Gathering because there's like 4 colors, right? Presumably, colors will be able to like have different powers, and you've got like 4 traits. So I don't know if I told you this, Dan, but I ended up grabbing 5 floor opens, and then I've still got 5 eggs. I've got no idea what's going on in the Pixelverse market, but the graphics don't overwhelm me, and some of them I find downright ugly. But from what I've read, I actually trust the guys a decent amount, and they seem to like care about the gaming mechanics, and there seems to be more thought into it than what I've seen other kind of projects hint at. So, and I think they could always like upgrade shit. I'm not saying that they will or would, but that's kind of my logic there. But anyways, I just kind of want to share that when we're thinking about like Magic the Gathering and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's got a real Magic vibe, or even Pokemon. I know a lot of people were
Yeah.
comparing it in the space to Pokemon-esque vibes, and even like the water, air, earth, and fire, like the element type vibes, I thought was really cool. And actually, on that subject matter, somebody opened one today, and it was a deity, like the really special
shit.
one. So I think there's only 4, and now one has been revealed in the ecosystem.
Hopefully it wasn't a blue, because I've got 2 blue eggs.
It wasn't. It was an earth, so you're safe.
Interesting. Nice. But I guess one of the reasons that I enjoy the Pixelverse is because like it's associated with the Sappy Seal community, and that seems to be a very like outspoken, proactive community, right, Dan? And you're
Absolutely.
the one that me to it. So just kind of like building upon like what is it about NFTs and like when we talk about community that actually like isn't a buzzword, right? Like, because I think it could be easy for people to be like, okay, yeah, an online community, but it's like, no, there's something like, and I don't know if the pandemic is in part and the lockdowns and stuff play to this, but like, there's a real hunger for people to connect and build relationships. There's also tons of scammers in the space.
For
so,
sure.
Like, you guys definitely do your own due diligence. Just because someone's got like 1 million Discord members, that shit scares me more than it actually like makes me bullish. When I hear like they've got 100,000 Discord members in 24 hours, I'm like, oh, so it's a scam. Okay, like I appreciate so straightforward, but and I'll bring up some scams that like at the time I honestly wasn't sure if they were scams, but I just didn't trust it. And I saw someone share it the other day. It was like a meme, and it showed 4 of these projects, and all of them are below a 1 ETH floor, and at other times they would have been like double digits. But when you're thinking about community, yeah, right, in the NFT space, what kind of like stands out to you? Like, what are some of your favorite communities, and why are they your favorite?
For sure. I mean, it's very eye-opening. I mean, I think it's one of those things you have to see to really believe as far as the community, because like Matt said, it's becoming a kind of a buzzword. Like, I don't know, like it's starting to be used maybe in the wrong context with some of these scam or rug projects, but really I've connected with people all over the world based around the pillar of we own the same NFT, and people are willing to go further in terms of maybe even promotion and shilling your stuff, like just even you as an artist, further than maybe some people I know in my real life, which isn't to knock the people in my IRL situation, but goes to show how strong some communities and how people are willing to be at your bat and have your back just solely based on, we have the same NFT, we both rock the same PFP, we're both Sappy Seals, we both ARF tweet whenever we can, we're both Space Monkeys, and we have our own custom song. Like, there's something to that, and the community can be used in a wrong context. But I think if you get onto Twitter, specifically jump into some spaces and really scan deep into particular projects, Sappy Seals, MFers has been huge for community lately. Just the awareness and the following you can gather. Not that that's what it's all about, but just in spades, people have grown accounts to a couple of thousand followers in days just by getting involved in particular NFTs. So, it's not a numbers game. I suggest everyone go out there and do your own research, get on Twitter, jump into some NFT topic related spaces. Highly suggest you do ours on Friday at 3 p.m., but and see how much people are willing to share themselves, share their resources, share their alpha, and sometimes maybe even make other people rich by doing so. It's really refreshing. And like you were saying, Matt, maybe it is the pandemic that's kind of thrown a bit of a jerry can of gas on this, as far as people, wanting a little bit of connection and not being able to get it in their immediate life. But community is huge in the NFT space. You got to pick the right ones, but when you find them, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, there's something really just fascinating about that hunger for community that I just see permeating the more legitimate NFT projects. And I see JJ here has a kind of statement, but I'm going to kind of turn it into a question. I've seen all NFT hype and, of course, seen the scams. I'm struggling to see a future for such assets and completely agree with you, JJ. And I think it depends on how you've been exposed to them and all that. But I guess another way I would frame this is think of like an NFT project like a business, right? And what's really, and again, I'm not getting into securities law here or anything, but this is just an analogy. But think of a NFT project as a business, and then think about how many businesses um, start every year. And there's the classic saying that, within 5 years, I don't think that this is like, factually studied, but like within 5 years, 90% of businesses will be closed. And then like 5 years after that, another 90% of those businesses will be closed. Well, if we think about that, think about how many businesses then go on to like become publicly traded and become valuable. And if we're not just looking at like companies that are listed, but like every company that ever starts, and whether it goes on to be like an Apple or a Tesla, you'd be like, oh shit, like it's, one in millions, right? That actually like goes on to like blow up. Honestly, I don't think that that's a bad analogy to NFT projects. Like one in millions will blow up. And the only difference here is because of the way NFTs are designed to be on the internet and blockchain and to be like publicly accessible versus like most small businesses, one, are literally prohibited from doing that because of securities law and stuff like that, trying to sell to the general public. But two, a lot of them aren't even like started out with that thesis, right? Like a lot of people start their sole proprietorship and they never wanted to evolve beyond that stage of sole proprietorship. Again, nothing wrong with that. It really just depends on your intentions for your business. But I think this analogy holds that if you really think about it, if every one of those businesses had to like put up a poster and say, I'm in business, and I am a business, I think so many more of us would look at it and be like, oh shit, like I never want to start a business, because it turns out like they all shut down, right? Like only one in a million or one in tens of millions goes on to become like a major multinational corporation. So I guess that's one thing I'd say. But secondly, it naturally does bring in a lot of scammers, and I do think that probably less than 1% of projects will be here long term, particularly the ones that get massive hype, right? Particularly
Yeah.
quick and fast hype that appears to be unearned. And by, kind of discussing those factors, appears to be unearned. Well, hype to me that appears to be unearned is someone that doesn't have a fan base already pre-existing, or they're not doxxed, so they're completely anon. They have no like influencer status. And again, there could be difference, right? Like there's celebrities, there's influencers, there's like thought leaders and all that. And I understand each one of those probably is a different level of susceptible to being a scam. So for example, that fly by night celebrity that appears to have no moral or ethical compass and, has built his fandom in a short period of time, there's probably a higher probability that person's going to be a scammer. Where someone that's like never scammed his audience, someone that, has been building it a long time. So again, I think the natural obvious example in NFTs is like someone like Gary Vee or Tom Bayou. But I think even like thinking towards like bigger people, right? Like what would be someone that's like been building their brand for forever? Like The Rock or Chris Rock, like, or not Chris Rock. Uh oh man, drawing blank here. But anyways, but like think of The Rock, think of, Tom Brady, like whoever, someone that's like built up a massive fandom. And I guess Tom Brady's known to stretch the rules a bit, but these people like aren't going to sell out their personal brands just for a quick dime, in my opinion. Again, I think we'll see certain celebrities that will get taken advantage of by a business manager or a random anon degen. But for me, it's about looking at like the different players and the chances that any one of those players could be like oriented towards short-term profit or like scamming their audience. There definitely will be projects that still fail despite having good intentions, but I don't think that it's necessarily those are a high probability. I think someone that's committed and just like, no matter what, I'm going to see this shit through. I think on a long enough time horizon, that person wins. But the person that's like, if this goes to 100 million, then I'll invest some money to hire a team of devs so that we can actually fulfill the back end promise. Or someone that's like, NFTs are hot right now, so I'm going to get into NFTs. And again, just kind of looking at the different factors, and the more like red flags you see, I think the higher the probability. So that person with an anon team that maybe has like one random celebrity face on it, and that celebrity again is kind of a flash in the pan oriented level of fame or personal brand. When you're kind of laying all that stuff out, I think that's when you can figure out the higher probabilities of being scammed. Again, even just understand the more money they raise off the front end is the more likely that they're going to scam you. The less amount of money they've put in on the front end, again, I think is a higher probability. So just thinking through all that stuff, I think is important.
For sure. Yeah. I see this comment a lot, like in my IRL, like communications, just talking to people about NFTs. They're just like, I don't really see the future, but I always kind of remind them there wasn't a lot of people seeing the future of Web 2 when it was just on the forefront. Nobody could imagine putting their banking info in, and now we're all doing it. So we'll see what the future holds. But I wanted to just kind of jump in and say that, it's all about vetting the project, and me and Matt are actually working on some podcast content to kind of go through our vetting process and what, obviously personally in our collecting, what we're looking at, but also just broadly about good rules of thumb for looking at a NFT project and a team and things like that. Look out for those.
It's always great to get second opinions. So if you right now don't have a social circle to bounce these ideas off of, like Dan was saying, he's got a very active Discord for Project LB52 that I'd encourage you guys to check out. And everyone in there is very sincere. So again, I'm not going to claim that they or we are experts at this. I don't know if there really are a lot of experts, but certainly understand that they're sincere and just focus on like community first, trying to help each other share their perspectives. And what's also nice is there's no one in there that's like a whale that can just manipulate a market. And that's one of the things that's really hard to separate these days in the NFT space is like signal from noise. Because it's so easy for some of these influencers to pump up an initial launch and then immediately like back out of it. And sometimes they do it in the day of light. Other times it's, kind of by secret pseudonyms.
Yeah.
And I was just going to pull up here on OpenSea a couple of the projects that, like, in my opinion, ended up not faring so well. So
yeah,
I think like, McKeever was one that comes to mind for me. I don't know if you remember that one, Dan.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's still probably sitting in a pretty hurting stage compared to where it was peak hype.
Yeah. Let me just see. I think actually I can share my screen a slightly different way.
Yeah, I've been almost thinking of like the same things you were saying, Matt, where it's like if they're at like 100K followers on Twitter, pre-launch, pre-everything, if they're at like 100,000, 250,000 Discord members pre-launch, like I don't know, you just got to start looking a little bit deeper, maybe pulling up the rug and looking under it a little bit before everything happens, like the example we're seeing here.
Because yeah, like there was just like the hype, right? Like last year,
look at that chart.
The average price was like 7.5. And yeah, that was for like real volume too, like 573 ETH, and like the highest daily sales, right? 76. But then outside of that, just like nothing going on. And one of the ones that's like high on everyone's mind right now, what was it? Pixelmon?
Yeah, Pixelmon.
Are they verified, or is this it?
I think that's it.
And so these were all minted for 3 ETH, if I remember correctly. And now the floor is 0.36.
Yeah, that looks right with the 12K.
Yeah, that's real. And like, I don't know.
That's real.
But like, so many of these look the same too. Was that an issue? I don't even remember that. But
I think there was a lot of issues. Like I was saying, I think even there was some words of stolen artwork, of just poor artwork, not what was promised. There was even, I saw Matt, some pretty decent influencers in the space that had gotten roped into promoting this, and they had to put out like a statement and show the public this is what they were saying it was going to look like. That's what it actually was.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on a couple of the other ones that were in like recent memory, but I got a feeling if I just literally go here and look at volume over all time, sadly, a bunch of them will actually be.
Yeah, some of the sus projects.
Yeah. It's like CryptoPunks. These are all legit. Oh, I was going to say, did Clonex? Yeah, that one did turn out. That was one where I didn't fully understand either.
Yeah.
Man, there's some crazy volume on these.
Seeing that, this is one thing I always point to. Like, if people scrolled through some of this and seen the amount of capital that's in this space, it's crazy. Hape, yeah, that was another.
That was another one that was super hyped. Although it seems like they're actually still doing pretty good.
Decent like, sustaining, yeah.
Yeah, but they've definitely dropped down. Like, Pudgy Penguins for a little bit was definitely a pump. Oh, On One Force, that was one of them.
Yeah.
This one was hyped hard, and there was like one or two like really big suspicious transactions, if I remember.
And you know another one that maybe is not as large on like the recollection list, but it was, I think it was called the Sevens, and it was just the biggest, like there was some of the biggest gas failures the space had ever seen, like people losing 50K on transactions and not getting anything. It's always scary, but yeah, this Oni one or On One, whichever it is.
Oh yeah, I always read it as On One, but
yeah,
it turns out almost always my instinct ends up being not how people pronounce things. So like literally in my mind, bake is bake, like as in BAY. But like I saw someone did a poll, and there was like 3 ways to pronounce it, like Bacy, BAYC, bake, and I forget. I think he had a 4th, and like everyone was saying the right way is to pronounce each letter. I was like,
oh, see, I see, like I say like base, like almost like base, like it's base. And let me ask you this, Matt: do you say ETH or do you say ETH?
ETH, definitely.
Yeah, see, I say ETH. Yeah, so yeah. Some people say ETH, and I find that to be very strange, but to each their own, right?
Because yeah, like there was some high transactions here and stuff too back in the day on One Force. That's interesting though that like Pudgy, Mecha, and On One are all sketch projects, and they're all like right beside each other.
Yeah. And like you say, with not a small amount of volume, that's a pretty high spot to be on that list, above VeeFriends.
True.
That's savage. Like they're not making little bits of coin in the space either, and that's what's
and all these came out after as well. VeeFriends came out first.
You're right. In some cases, by quite a bit, maybe not like because the space moves so fast, it always feels like more than it actually, or sorry, less.
This one wasn't even on my radar until it was already like skyrocketing NFT world.
Yeah. Well, that one's very kind of piquing a lot of interest because it's like land and kind of another one of those almost metaverse based things. So a lot of hype around that lately.
Well, and like, have you been following like the Bioland?
I have, yeah. And the bio pills are going crazy right now. They're doing extremely well.
Yeah. Well, and Biolands was a spin-off. And yeah, it's like a 2 ETH floor.
Wow. Yeah, that's a nice floor.
They've done everything right, and I've seen some of the artist renderings of what like their land's going to look like, and I think it's going to do well. I regret not buying more. I've got 2. And
like you say,
and I just started getting greedy. I was like, I'm going to wait till it comes down. And it hasn't.
That's the one thing that can sting you, and I've been in that same spot too. You wait and wait, and then it just keeps going up, and you're like, dang. Seeing that, I was going to mention Adidas earlier, just showing like some of the large names that are coming into the space and putting their name, on NFTs and being willing to stake their kind of, like I said, their brand reputation, their name up until this point in this space. So that's very cool to see.
The Doge Pound is one that I heard. Like, I don't think it was fakely hyped, but like, I'm surprised it seemed like for a while they had a really strong community. And I thought that they were going to like go further than they have. Again, I think it was one of those cheap, like relatively cheap mints under 0.1.
Mm.
Alex Becker was definitely one of the influencers that talked about a lot. Invisible Friends. I don't know. I guess we'll see how this plays out. I haven't done a
Yeah.
lot of research, but it gave me similar vibes. So honestly, like if I get bad vibes, I end up just not like doing much research on a project. I'm just like, I'm gonna wait and see.
Honestly, with theirs, I think the only thing saving them, and this is my opinion, I don't mean in the others' perspective, but my view of it is the artwork is the only thing saving it. I think it looked really overhyped and looked kind of suspect, but the artwork is really sick. But the only caveat there is that it's motion, like it's GIF art. So you can't really use that in a PFP setting. It's kind of a niche like application you would use it in. So
Yeah. And
we'll see where
honestly,
that goes.
again, it just like scared me off. So I never even went deep and like looked into its utility and stuff. I think I also knew like it was a higher mint and stuff, right? So that was also kind of a deterrent.
Yeah, I think pre-reveal they were selling for 13,
Oh,
14
right.
ETH.
Yeah.
I saw a story about like a 13-year-old kid making like college fund money off of one. So, and
Yeah.
also on Invisible Friends, they did a one-of-one auction to kind of launch things off and put it all to charity. And it was auctioned off for millions of dollars. I don't know the exact figure, but it was a big number, which again kind of spooked me and was like, that's scary. Like before the project's even minting, they've already pulled in millions, whether it's for charity or not. That's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, and just looking at like Gutter Cat and Alien Friends, I definitely see lots going on around them.
Did you hear about Crypto Maury's, Matt?
Yeah, that's kind of like
That's
some
a hot
weird
story
shit, right?
because I
Real,
know
yeah, just high level for anyone that doesn't know, Crypto Maury's, this project that seemed like it had some strong organic growth. Seems like the artist was pretty well liked, or like the group team, I guess. I don't know if it was the artist, but the team was pretty well liked, and they used this like style or design that's like a skull and a relatively distinctive like way of displaying the teeth on the skull, and no bottom jaw. And it turned out like one other artist has this in their a piece of art or logo they own, and they filed like a DSM or DCMA claim on OpenSea, which got them pulled off. And yeah, do you know a lot more than that, Dan? I just kind of want to surmise it quick for any listeners.
for sure the only like deeper stuff I know of is who the artist which was the Sabet, who's very well known in the space, and I think he's relatively more of an OG artist, so not as kin to the Web3 space, and actually saw he issued an apology after the fact and was like, I'm withdrawing it. I realized it was in bad taste to approach it this way, to just have them removed without having a conversation formally. So I think things are going to be rectified, but it was just crazy to see, like you say, a DCMA goes out and OpenSea just gone. Like it's completely disappeared. So I don't know, maybe another deterrent to others looking in about the space, but
Yeah.
hot news right now.
And I think one of the things is Sabbath. He was already like a verified artist on OpenSea and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
and he had done previous claims. So I think that stuff as well played into a factor. Like I think a random anon making a claim wouldn't get the same result.
You're
or
probably right.
as fast of action by OpenSea, but yeah, really interesting. Like this is definitely the Wild West. Anything's possible. There do be dragons around every corner in the NFT world. So I personally think for anyone that's kind of listening to this, it's really important to approach this stuff with caution and humility. And I would only play with money you can afford to lose. And ideally only play in arenas where you actually like the project, the art, the utility behind the thing that you're actually buying. Because again, right now, there definitely is a large segment of investors in the NFT space that they're buying like what in their own opinions are like ugly Beanie Babies, right? And like they've got no love for it, they don't care about it, and they're solely there for the money. And when when markets are like that, you see a lot more volatility in those markets because there isn't a real base of fans or consumers or collectors.
Yeah, you're more prone to see those dumps because people just, like you say, aren't attached to them at all. And definitely buy what you like, because if it goes to zero, then at least you have a piece of artwork or a piece of utility or something that you at least value.
Yeah, 100%. And just while we're hanging out here, I do
Yeah,
want to bring up Project LB52 again. So for anyone that hasn't checked it out, there's a link in the video description down below, but you can also just type in Project LB52. And essentially what I wanted to highlight, because I still don't think enough people have actually gone to the website and checked it out. But you can literally hit over here just in the right hand corner and you can listen to the song or like the beats, and you can kind of figure out or choose your beat. And so, yeah, okay, there's mine. So this is the one I ended up buying, guys, that you'll recognize from the Maple Pill intro.
LB52. Purchase your NFT now.
Man, it's so weird listening to it now without lyrics.
I was gonna say all I can hear is your song.
Same. But there's just I'm so happy and proud to be participating in a project so unique as this, because you know, at the time we were putting together this project, it would have been a lot easier, and who knows, it might have been more financially rewarding to literally just hire a random artist and do 10,000 PFPs and layers. And again, not even throwing any shade at those groups and communities, but you know, even then, like 6 months ago, I think it was a little bit tired and played out. But now I think it's very derivative, and just like there's not anything new to really be gained in that space. I think that it's way too easy for people to overlook the ability for artists, for creatives, for content creators to be able to like engage and connect with an audience and be able to reward that audience, right? Me buying like a Doug Gilmour hockey card, or me buying a random Beanie Baby, the only way I really like financially benefit or gain any benefit from it is if, you know, more collectors come in, right? Like essentially pyramid scheme. Like if more people into it, then it, in theory, demand starts to outstrip supply, and so that'll drive up prices. However, with NFTs, you essentially always have, like, in theory, a channel of communication or ability for the creator, for the project leads to connect with the individual holders of those tokens of the NFTs. And so what this means is that, you know, if you're participating in a project like Project LB52 here, the Space Monkey Fight Club, you know, you can buy a song, help like co-create it with Dan, own the commercial rights to it. But now for the rest of like that NFT's existence, Dan can always, in theory, like track down the wallet it's in, which means he can always connect with that person again. And I think that opens itself up to new types of utility and community and fandom that just never existed before. I know one of the examples I regularly talk about in like our Twitter spaces we do on Fridays from 3 to 5 is the idea of like, if you were a day one supporter of like some garage band, you know, maybe you bought their first Burn CD, maybe you bought their first band tee, maybe you paid like the $2 cover to go to the show where there's like 11 other people in the dive bar with you listening to them, and like half of it is their family, right? That's there to support them. You know, that's amazing and awesome that you might have been a day one fan. But if they do blow up or they do go on to bigger and better things, you know, how do you really stay intertwined with them, right? Particularly if you didn't already know them, if you were literally approaching them as someone that enjoyed the content, the music they were creating. Where again, now it's so much easier with like Project LB52. Dan's doing a limited run, right? So the first season's 52. And so that means that essentially, like, you're in a club with myself. I think we've got 4 other members, and Adam Martin is also one of the members, and the Experiment's also one. Again, each one of these guys like bought their own. So I want to really explicitly state that they actually believe in the underlying utility and value of just owning the song. But essentially that means Dan will always be able to know who were the first 52 supporters of his content, of his art, of his music career. And there's just something so unique to that. So again, for anyone that's listening to this that maybe has no interest in ever participating in Project LB52, That's fine. That's cool. It's no, skin off of our backs. But what I do want to encourage you is thinking about, what communities did you want to build, or what communities did you want to participate in or be a part of? Because either there's an opportunity to find one out there or to create your own, right? And again, whether that's to support a for-profit motive, whether that's to support just something that's 100% about fulfilling or propagating the community, or whether it's like a not-for-profit. There's just so much opportunity in this space. And again, understanding that in theory, you don't need blockchain for these things to exist, or these communities, but there's something about the attention as well as liquidity pools that are created by these ecosystems and environments that I do think create for a really unique moment in time when it comes to this. And I hope that we see it like proliferate throughout all of art and culture, because I'd much rather see, rather than the CBC spending $1 billion a year of taxpayer funds, I'd rather see those taxpayers go and donate it to citizen journalists, right? That are like boots on the ground in their local communities, that, are not kind of a faceless reporter that reads an article by another faceless reporter, that like you end up being so disconnected from the, in this case, then this analogy, the media that's being created, right, by the news. Whereas what I'd much rather do is like support that person that's like, boots on the ground in my community, like my town of 400 people. Back in like the settler times, there was enough demand because there was such a strong sense of community that you would have like a local newspaper, right? Or like a pamphlet, or at least like that crazy dude standing on a stump giving his stump speech or his soapbox speech. And what's happened is through globalization, we saw this like competing for the biggest of budgets. But I think that we're going to very soon see a reversal in that, where now it's no longer going to be about, can you pay Billboard enough money to get ranked higher, right? Or get a better feature or get on the cover of it. We're no longer going to be incentivized to, fake a couple million plays on Spotify so that you can get to the top of the charts, because that essentially like allows you to capture the social like collective's consciousness in that moment in time. And again, I think Project LB52, really happy that we're trailblazing on this, Dan. I guess anything else just in the general subject of Project LB52?
Well, just like doubling down on all the stuff you were saying, man. Like it's no sweat off our back if you don't want to buy in. I do love the thought of maybe inspiring somebody to come up with a cool idea themselves and not just go with the average 10K. You have to just, go the route that seems to be working as far as the masses go. Some of the collections we were looking at, but you can get a lot more unique. And going off what you were talking about of the holders, I can track down to the very first person who invested into this and find that token. And if they're still holding it, reward them. And I think that's so special to be able to track each of your angel investors and somebody that was willing to kind of give you that head start and believe in the project. And we're definitely going to make sure to do that with them. But it's just, blockchain does give you that ability. It's like a busker being able to track every toonie that went into the guitar case as somebody went by and be able to repay that if ever, they made it big onto the red carpet type scene. So there's a lot to be, it sounds cliche, but grateful for in the NFT space. And obviously Project LB52 and Space Monkey Fight Club is looking to be a forerunner in the NFT music space for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, really appreciate you hanging out with me, Dan.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely love the mailbag song. So I'm going to play it again before I wrap up this live stream. But I guess just for anyone that kind of enjoyed Dan and I hanging out, chatting about this, as he mentioned, we'll be having a NFT podcast coming out in the near future, but you can also hang out with us every Friday, 3 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, just hanging out in the Twitter spaces. If you're following myself on Twitter, I think it's Matt McKeever 85. You can find it there. If you follow, is it Dan?
Dan the Lost Boy on Twitter and at Project LB52 on Twitter. You'll see all the reminders. And if you're in the Discord, we also post an event in there to lead you right to where you need to go.
The Discord. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can find it there. So, and again, encourage you, if you want to find yourself surrounded by a community of like-minded NFT enthusiasts, it's a great one. They're constantly kind of goofing around. It's got its own culture. And again, if nothing else, it's a great time to just be exposed to these organic, authentic communities, because down the road, again, whether it's like, someone building their own for their survivalist community or their prepper community, whether it's you building something for your your gardening co-op, or there's just an infinite amount of like ways to utilize this and build upon kind of the momentum in the space. So again, encourage everyone to maybe dive a little bit deeper into it if you haven't been paying attention. Don't pour your life savings into this shit though. Take your time, but it really is fun to belong to some of these communities. And actually, just literally, because I don't want to forget it, Dan, and I wrote down here, I was thinking about when we're talking about communities, there's Ape Follow Ape, and so that's really popular in regards to driving Bored Ape Yacht Club. And the idea there is essentially like everyone follows each other if they're a member of Bored Ape Yacht Club. I was just thinking for Space Monkey Fight Club, something to think about here is like monkey see, monkey do. It literally could be something like where like you say like if another monkey says something or asks for a favor, you essentially like have to do it. Like, like, yo guys, I just started my first YouTube channel. Really appreciate a sub. # monkey see, monkey do.
Ooh, I like it. Takes it another step further.
Yeah.
I really like that, because we were already kind of implementing the monkey follow monkey, but that's just kind of like copycat, and the monkey see monkey do is even better, because you might be asking for a call to action, something to really pull at that community. I really like that, man.
Yeah.
Look out for that in the Discord, everybody.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you drop off here, Dan. Again, appreciate you spending the time hanging out, chatting NFTs, and I look forward to hanging out on Friday and doing more.
Heck yes. Yeah, see everybody Friday. And if you don't know how to use Twitter Spaces, go on our Instagram. We got a how-to there. Have a great night, everybody. See you, Matt.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. So yeah, again, appreciate Dan hanging out with me. Link to Project W52 in the video description down below if you guys are interested in checking it out more. Honestly, this was just a really fun episode, and I still have a piece of mail, but I'm going to let this go over until next week. So I'm already committing to do another episode of the mailbag show for next week, and we'll open this because for the person that wrote this, maybe they didn't like NFTs and they didn't watch for the last hour, as Dan and I just kind of fanboyed out over the NFT world. But I'm going to play the mailbag song again. I'll eventually get better graphics made for this, but really encourage you guys like listen to this and think about it. It's such a unique proposition. So again, here's the mailbag song. Whoa.
Welcome to the Mailbag Monday show. With your host.
Wait, was that super crackly for you guys or just me? Because I legit don't know, but it wasn't supposed to be crackly. Okay, let's try this again. Because that was definitely not doing Dan any favors.
Welcome.
All right, well, it looks like something's screwing up on my end. I apologize for that, guys. I'll play the Mailbag Monday song sometime in the future. It really is good. Or you can go back and watch the start of this live stream, and I played it then. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hope you guys had fun chatting about NFTs and all that jazz. And I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Maple Pill. And we'll be back next Monday at 8:20 Eastern Standard Time doing another mailbag episode. And we'll actually open the mail that time. And if you guys want to send us anything in the mail, I'll link in the video description down below. Just brightens my day up. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.